Okay.
All right, I can hear you. Oh, are we going up here?
No, you're staying on there. It's a height thing.
Oh. He wants to be taller than me a little bit.
Go.
All right, ready? Ready? Mm-hmm. Good evening, folks, and welcome in to Waterford Mott Football Stadium on the campus of Waterford Mott High School, where tonight we have an Intersquad season finale for you between the red and white teams of your Detroit Union FC. I'm Anthony Schulte, chopping it up with my good buddy and broadcast partner, Derek Steele. Today, well, what a day it was for Kevin Tapsham and the Detroit Union. Originally scheduled versus AIM SC, but due to a very, very, very late cancellation, it's now an inter-squad season finale. Derek, what are we looking for here today?
Honestly, what I'm looking at is it's going to be the same thing I'm going to talk about that I was going to talk about AIM. It's going to be the center backs, Joe Dalby, Owen Turner. I'm excited to see what they can do. They're getting ready for their season at Northwood University, along with Amadeo Cravasha, who isn't here today, Wilfredo Galvez, all those Duran Body, all those individuals are getting ready for their season at Northwood. So how are Turner and Dalby going to go out this season? What legacy are they going to leave with Detroit Union FC? We've talked about that back line for Coach Kevin Tapsham being the identity of this team for both teams, both the red and white team tonight. I expect to see that back line getting high pressure and high plays made by both back lines.
So last weekend we saw Adnan Hussein score the only goal of the afternoon, and that was to make it a 1-0 win for Union over Futsal Factory. What does he got to do today to have that same impact as last weekend?
Capitalize on scoring opportunities. That's something we talked about for both Futsal Factory and Detroit Union last weekend, is neither team were able to capitalize on many scoring opportunities. As you mentioned, it was Adnan Hussein who was the only one who was able to score or capitalize on scoring opportunities. So I'm going to say it for both the red and the white team again. You got to be able to capitalize on scoring opportunities and locate the ball. Something we've seen a lot with Detroit Union this year is those offside penalties when they're entering the final third. So locate the ball, be able to stay on sides, and then be able to capitalize on those scoring opportunities.
In that same game, we saw head coach Kevin Tapsham have a spirited halftime speech, get the guys fired up, and they had a very, very, very good second half, including that Hussein goal. What has been so important about head coach Kevin Tapsham this season that's really helped this team improve from last season?
His experience. He has coaching experience at Waterford Mott High School with the varsity team, and then he has experience with boys soccer, or excuse me, I should say men's soccer at Clarkson High School. He was one of the JV coaches over a couple of miles down the road over at Clarkson High School. So I think it's his experience in coaching, but also his experience in the MWPL. He played last season for Detroit Union, so he knows how this league works, and he knows what to expect from different teams within this league. And I think that experience from Coach Kevin Tapsham was what helped them eventually in the second half and what's helped them throughout the season.
So the main goalkeeper this year, Zach Kelly, he's the main goalkeeper at MSU. He's had a great season. Last weekend, he had a clean sheet against Futsal Factory. Today, though, it's going to be the newcomer with Zach Kelly not in the starting 11. It's going to be the newcomer, Griffin White in goal.
We presume. We have not gotten the starting 11 for both teams yet.
Yes, but we assume, since he was the only goalie available for this game, that Griffin White is going to be in one of the goals. How can White fill such a role that Zach Kelly provided to this team?
Honestly, personally, I have all the confidence with Griffin White in the world. He's been training with Zach Kelly for about 7 years now. Talking with Griffin White on Thursday at practice, he talked about how Zach Kelly honestly was a big reason why he signed with Detroit Union to begin with. So I have all the confidence with Griffin White. I feel like his play style is a lot similar to Zach Kelly, and we've seen Kelly have a lot of success in net this year for Detroit Union. So I'm expecting a lot of similar things for Griffin White in this one.
Now, kickoff is fast approaching here at Waterford Mott High School. What are 3 things you're looking for tonight from both the red and white teams?
First off is growth. I want to see a lot of growth from both teams. This is a younger team that we saw last weekend. A lot of really inexperienced players within this league. So I want to be able to see growth, and I want to be able to see what we talked about, being able to capitalize on those scoring opportunities. So that's number 2 for me, is capitalize on those scoring opportunities. Number 3, I'm gonna say create space. Like I talked about earlier when we were talking about Hussein. Detroit Union has really been struggling with creating space, especially for their strikers. I want to see them be able to do that. They were working on that a lot in practice on Thursday. So that's gonna be my third key to the game.
Well, thank you, Derek. Grab a cold beverage, grab a snack, grab a seat, and don't touch that computer. We've got season finale action coming up next on the Detroit Union Football Network.
Whoa!
I don't think we were muted.
That's why I said whoa and not other stuff. Can we grab this and put these back in the...
Did you mute us?
Whatever. Make the standby down. It's crap. Ladies and gentlemen, one more thing. We just got notification that the Midwest Premier League is taking action against Ames Soccer Club. This game does not represent, this situation, does not represent Detroit Union Football Club or the Midwest Premier League. Again, they are taking action against Ames Soccer Club.
Let me know when you want me to come out. Welcome back on the Detroit Union Football Network. A beautiful Sunday afternoon, 77 degrees at kickoff. I'm Anthony Schulte. As always, joined with my buddy, broadcast partner, Derek Steele, with the play-by-play of today's match. How are we, my friend?
Thank you, Anthony. We're doing amazing. This inter-squad matchup between Detroit Union Football and, guess what?
Detroit Union Football?
Detroit Union
Hey!
Football! Never thought I'd have the opportunity to call an inter-squad match, but here we go. Two teams going at it in today's game. We have Detroit Union Red going left to right across your screen. Detroit Union White is going to go from right to left. Hey, Anthony, you want to know what colors both teams are wearing?
Red and white and black.
The red team's wearing the away red jerseys, red top, red bottoms, white numbering. The white team are wearing the white home kits, white top, white bottom, black numbering. And there's 45 minutes on the clock. And we're not underway. False start. But Anthony, what a beautiful day it is. As you mentioned, 77 degrees at kickoff today.
Slight breeze, too.
Slight breeze.
No, I'm excited for this game here. You know, it's a season finale. You got everybody coming out for fan appreciation night. You know, I just want to give a quick shout out to the head coach, Kevin Tapsham, of course, working his behind off today. He, of course, a stressful situation with AIM and the late cancellation, but he did a good job getting something going for the fans and not disappointing.
As there's 45 minutes on the clock, and wind coming 10 miles per hour out of the south. Derek Steele, Anthony Schulte, glad you could be with us on this fine Sunday afternoon. And we're underway here from Waterford Mott High School. We apologize for any number issues, as it's going to be interesting, Anthony, trying to keep track of both these teams.
It's going to be interesting, but Jeb Sneed tries to get a white on the board there with that kick, and it's just off to the right.
Anthony, something I'm excited to watch is Griffin White in net for Detroit Union Red here. We mentioned in the pregame show, Griffin White, the product out of Okemos High School, junior at Okemos High School. As it's going to be a corner kick for the white team. Jeb Sneed going to chase the ball down around the fence. We still have officials here in this inter-squad match. You know what this reminds me of, Anthony?
What does it remind you of, Derek?
We're both baseball fans. Go back to the short and spring training. Back in the short and COVID 2020 season, the inter-squad games happening down about half an hour south of here. There's a header by Wilfredo Galvez. There's Adnan Hussein for the red team going to get it. Actually, that was Javad Alavi, Hussein with it. Hussein, the only goal scorer in the 1-0 Futsal Factory win last Sunday right here from Waterford Mott High School. There's Bovey. Bovey has it stolen. Given right to Sean Clark. That's over to Galvez. Galvez trying to get it in for Sneed. And there's a diving save by Griffin White. He's going to roll it out quickly.
And you were mentioning Griffin White earlier here. He's, as I said in the pregame, he's got big shoes to fill here today with Zach Kelly not in goal for either squad. And I think that training he really had with Zach Kelly for the past 7 years, that's really going to help him kind of come into this team and really make a big impact.
There's Jackson Deere into the left wing. He's going to center it and negated. That's Tarek Minad. Ollie Jarvis will let it roll out of bounds for the corner kick. That's going to be Andrew Simon to take the corner kick. Simon did play with the Union team last season, appeared in a handful of games. Second season in the red, white, and blue for Simon. As Bovey gets it along the 30, he's going to give it up to Sneed. Sneed's going to dump in. Stolen though by Bananas. There's a shot just wider than that off the foot of Joe Dalton. Actually, that's Owen Turner finding himself deep on the pitch. Sails it just a little bit to Griffin White's right. Griffin White, as we mentioned, does train with Zach Kelly. He's been training with him for about 7 years, talking with him on practice. Very confident keeper, Anthony. He's got a lot of moxie to himself. That's one word I would use to describe Griffin White, moxie.
Now, having that confidence you alluded to, you got to be very confident in goal in your abilities.
There's Ethan Collins.
Because when you're in goal, you got to have that confidence. You got to stay with yourself. Even if you give up a goal, you got to stay confident in yourself confident in yourself and your abilities.
Hussein's going to give it to Roski. Roski is going to go deep to Alavi. Alavi gathers. He's going to give it back to Hussein. First attack opportunity for Red. As that was attempted for Roski and out of bounds. Ball will go back to the white team. We do not have the scoreboard running here at Waterford Mott High School. The score graphic on your screen showing the time. Ball will be thrown into Wilfredo Galvez. And Anthony, watching Galvez at practices, the ball is out of bounds off of Red. But watching Galvez in practice on Thursday, I'll read you verbatim from my practice notes. I'll read you verbatim what I have in my notes. This ball gets back to Simon. It says, Wilfredo Galvez is a beast, having the practice of his life, forcing Kevin to praise him. I think that's high praise.
That is, and Kevin's not always known as somebody who gives out compliments easy, and when you're forcing Kevin to give out those compliments, to give out that high praise, that means you're really doing something right.
Ball is struck off the foot of Jeb Sneed high and over the net, so Griffin White will have his first goal kick in a Detroit Union uniform. Derek Steele and Anthony Schulte, want to give a big thank you to our crew for today's game, our producer Ben Shadle, cameraman Calvin Kustantz. Big thank you to both of those gentlemen coming out to help us. I also want to give a big thank you to you, the viewers, who tune in every game this season. We were able to live stream every Detroit Union home game. Plus, we went on the road for Cedars FC and the Michigan Jaguars. Big season for Detroit Union football. They are going to end the season this year
4-4-3.
with a 4-4-3 record. But Anthony, looking at that record from last year, as I'm trying to pull it up in my notes really quick, 1-3-6 in 2022. Yeah. 1 win, 3 losses, 6 ties. Obviously, Coach Kevin Tapstrom has this team going in the right direction as White's going to come out and make the save for Red. That's going to be interesting seeing Griffin White playing for the Red team today. But going back to my point, 1-3-6 record for Detroit Union to see that this season that record is finalized. But a lot of growth and a lot of players already talking to head coach Kevin Tapstrom about coming back. There's also some former players talking with Coach Tapstrom. It's about the culture that he's building here in Waterford, Michigan.
And we talked to Coach Tapstrom last night, and I brought this exact
30-minute conversation with Coach Tapstrom.
It's always a pleasure to talk with Coach Tapstrom, but I kind of brought up the question, What about, he played for this team last year. What about playing for this team and then coming in to coach? Like, what has that been like? He said he feels confident having played in this league before and having played in similar leagues for 2 to 3 years. He also said he understands the moments and how to manage them, how to manage all the layers of being a coach. And he still learned that he had to learn a lot as a coach. And he said it's not an easy transition. There is a good learning curve, but these players seem to have embraced him very well, and it shows in the record. He's coached a very good team this year compared to last year.
Offsides was called on Ali Jarvis. But Anthony, looking at the two teams here we have lined up today, not a lot of substitutes on the bench. There's one player on the bench for red, one player on the bench for white. So we're not going to see a lot of substitutes. But honestly, looking at a game like this, as we mentioned in the pregame show, this is a great learning opportunity, a great growth opportunity for the players, and it's a great chemistry opportunities, especially with a lot of these players, such as Wilfredo Galvez, Joe Dalby, Owen Turner, playing at Northwood together. As there's a shot saved by White as he dives to his right.
Very impressive so far as White today. I mean, filling in those shoes for such a great keeper as Kelly. He's done a very good job, being active in goal, being active in front of the goal, and making good diving plays.
There it is to Alavi. Getting back is Hussein. Stolen by Clark. Sean Clark, another one of those Northwood players, says, watch out, there's a one-on-one offsides again on Ali Jarvis. Late offsides there by the referee, but nonetheless an offsides call on Ali Jarvis.
Derek, I think this game's important not only for Union, but I think it's also good for the fans because you get to see all the players play. You get to see kind of a good friendly match between these two teams. And for fan appreciation, sure, it would have been nice to get a game against a different opponent, especially a league opponent, but it's good to see both teams go at it, and you're going to see a lot of chemistry built, as you said. And going into next year, you're going in technically off a win, and this is technically a win-win if you look at it because, you've got both teams playing against each other. You ended off the season good, and you made the best out of a dire situation. So it's good for both the fans and the team going into next year, and hopefully a successful year at that.
Lavi and Hussein playing catch. Lavi grabs him around the 40. He's going to give that was to Liam Holloway. Holloway, one of the newcomers to this Detroit Union team. First appearance on the season for him as Galvez tries to catch up to that ball. Good recognition by Galvez not to rush out after that ball. Pulling back, not getting the offsides call. But Anthony, as you mentioned, great momentum boost as officially this team going into 2024 ended their 2023 campaign off a win. It was a 1-0 win against Futsal Factory last Sunday. And you being an athlete, me being a former athlete, you know as well as I do that ending your season on a winning streak can be a huge momentum boost going into the next season.
It can. It builds on the program and what you're doing. It builds on the trust and the camaraderie and just everything. You like going and leaving with a good taste in your mouth. You like going in off a win. You're going to be going in off a win in the next season. You're finishing 3 more wins than you had last year, which is very good. And it's always great to end the season on a win and end the season with a good taste in your mouth going into the off season and going into next year.
Good play by the red team to knock that ball out of bounds. Nope, it was the white team to knock it out of bounds, so it'll be red ball. They get it into Tarek Minad. Over to Mason Bryce Hush, excuse me. Mason, a practice player mainly for Detroit Union, making his first official game appearance here in this inter-squad game. But also, Anthony, this is a great opportunity for some of these players who might not get much playing time in Coach Kevin Tapsham's system to be able to see the field, learn, grow, make mistakes on the field, and learn from them.
And you're going to see Coach Tapsham really coaching it up on the sidelines here today, really talking with both teams and being. I mean, you think about it. This is kind of like one of those little practice friendlies you have. When you're doing a scrimmage, everybody gets excited for the scrimmage, right? Well, you got a giant one right here with a crowd.
Good play by Sneed to intercept that ball. He gets it back to Ramon.
Also, one thing that we've noticed this entire year that Union really needs to work on is the backfield turnovers. We've noticed them all year. You've seen a couple of them here tonight. Hopefully they can clean that up going into next season, because that was really one of their biggest Achilles heels this season was those backfield turnovers.
Miscommunication by James Clark as he kicks the ball out of bounds over towards one of the benches here at Waterford Mount High School. Ball is able to get to Bryce Hush. He gets it down to Alavi. Stolen, though, by Jackson Deere. Deere, a product out of Lake Orion, Michigan, went to Lake Orion High School. Him and James Clark, both former Dragons.
Go Dragons.
No, they did not graduate together. Clark, just a couple years older than Deere. As there it is to Simon. Simon, one touch to Dolby, who will try the other side to Simon. Great to see Andrew Simon back in a Detroit Union uniform.
Good patience here from the white team.
Dolby will go to Turner. They'll get it to Bovey. Ryan Bovey making his first appearance in a couple of weeks for Detroit Union. Couple week break for Bovey. Glad to see him back in the lineup. As there is Alavi with space. Alavi with the strike and off of Ramon and out of bounds. Be a corner kick for the red team.
Something we harped on last week is the opportunities, not only for Futsal Factory, but for Detroit Union. And we've seen a lot of opportunities at both ends of the field for both Detroit Union teams. And again, I feel like that's something on top of the turnovers. It's something they really need to focus on, is capitalizing on opportunities.
Hussein will take the corner. Hits off of, I believe that was Deere, but Hussein comes in for the strike. Sails just a little bit wide and out of bounds.
That ball almost went over the fence.
I've seen that happen a couple of times this season here at Waterford Mott. It was a scrimmage against Damon Academy, I believe it was earlier this season, where there was a ball that went back over the back fence here at Waterford Mott and into someone's backyard.
See, me personally, I could never live right I don't want my backyard to be a high school football field. I don't know why. I just would not like it.
But you get free viewership of Friday Night Lights.
Okay, but then you got a fence right in front of you. You got an entire team sideline right in front. Like, if you look at that house back there in your view, right by where the ball just went by.
Ball to Alavi.
You have to look past giant football players and
Alavi with the strike. Raymond will come out for the save.
Like, Derek, especially you, how would we be able to see this?
Not necessary, Anthony Schulte.
Oh, I'm just playing with you.
Not necessary.
Seriously, though, how would you be able to see? You'd have to build your own grandstand.
But it's free.
No, it's not. You got to build a grandstand. That costs money.
You'd rather... I can see where you're coming from.
I would rather have land.
As White will come out to make the easy stop.
But that's just me.
He gets it to Derek Minot. Minot will give it up. That was over to Ethan Collins. Collins actually attended Waterford Mott High School here back when he was in high school, making his return this season to his alma mater.
He's got experience on this field.
There it is to Lavi, and you know that every field, well, granted, a lot of fields here in the Midwest Premier League are football fields. Each field has their different oddities to each other. Mm-hmm. So how much of an advantage is it for a player like Ethan Collins to be able to play on a field that you have experience playing on?
I mean, you call it that home field advantage, right? Home field, home court, home ice advantage. I feel like he's got some of that here just because he knows the stadium, he knows the field. Every field has its nuances. When you're a road team, you're going into a different environment. You're not used to it. He's used to this environment. So I think it is pretty big for him being able to have this as his home football stadium.
Jarvis called for the foul. For the first foul of the afternoon for both teams. Honestly, Anthony, relatively clean game here so far by both teams.
Yeah. I think that also comes with they're the same team. It's not the other team where you don't really, you're going at each other hard. They don't want to injure each other, right? They don't want to injure anybody, but they especially don't want to injure each other. This is a friendly match. And
do you think a lot of it could be that the referees are letting them play a little bit more, knowing that this is a little bit more of a friendly match?
It could be, but I also think it's just that camaraderie they all have as being on the same team. They're not slide tackling each other, right? They're not throwing each other to the ground to be able to get an advantage. They know that those opportunities will most likely come again, so they're not really going to be, going that hard in that sense.
You're going 100%, but you're not going
you're way
game
more,
100%.
You're way more mindful of the people that you are comrades with.
There it is to Deere. Deere collects around the 27. He gives it up to Galvez. Galvez almost had his pocket picked. Good play by Galvez to be able to control the ball. That was Junior Matuza trying to clear the ball. There's Simon.
About to say, White was playing a very clean game when it comes to turnovers as they kicked it right to the red team.
Galvez with a strike blocked by Ethan Collins, and it will roll out of bounds. Corner kick for the White team. .52 first half. 17?
Yes.
17th minute mark here. Oh, good stop by Griffin White. White making that save look easy. 18th minute mark. Derek Steele, Anthony Schulte.
What a beautiful day, Derek. What a beautiful day. Good day for some football.
So there's a whistle. Believe there was a foul called. Did not see who it was on. It was on the White team.
Our producer, Ben Shadle, wants some recognition again here because that is Ben Shadle, ladies and gentlemen.
Ah, we love Ben Shadle.
We love Ben Shadle, man.
There's a Olavi. He collects around midfield. He'll give it to Bryce Shaw. Back to Olavi. That's Matuza, Junior Matuza, one of those younger practice players for Detroit Union getting his opportunity to play in this game. There's Fritz. First time we've said the name of CJ Fritz. Honestly, Anthony, kind of surprised we haven't said CJ Fritz's name. You saw him in the Futsal Factory game.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially last game.
He was a big factor in that Futsal Factory game.
I want to see, you mentioned some of those, practice players that don't really get an opportunity. I want to see them take advantage of the opportunity today. Get some strikes, get some opportunities at the net, and, try and net a couple. Because, this is kind of, you can kind of see it as like maybe a little open tryout almost for head coach Kevin Tapsham to be able to see, okay, we're giving these guys this opportunity. They don't get to see the field all that often. What can they do? Can they play their position the right way? Can they defend? Can they get some good strikes in and get some good goals? Because if I'm a player in this situation, right, say I'm riding the bench all year, right, and I'm like, okay, I finally get to play most.
There's Galvez. He's trying to find a crosses. There's a strike. Good play by
good defense right there.
That was Ethan Collins with the save. Anyways, as you were saying, Anthony.
As I was saying, if I'm a player and I'm on the bench most of the year and I get this final opportunity in this final game before next season, I'm looking at it like, okay, how can I show my all and show my best to coach? Like, hey, I can play. I don't need to be riding the bench anymore. I don't need to be at the end of the bench. I can play this game. I can play it good.
Talking about Northwood players on this Detroit Union, Jackson Deere. Another Northwood player. I know we were kidding around yesterday, basically saying that if you combine Northwood, Saginaw Valley, Michigan State, there's your 2023 Detroit Union. As the ball will roll out of bounds. Be a goal kick for White. He gets it out to Bryce Shaw. Bryce Shaw. Stolen by Deere. Good play by the Northwood commit and Jackson Deere. Clark. Gives it back to that's Dalby who goes back to Turner. had a chance to talk with Owen Turner after practice on Thursday. I asked him, what's it like playing with one of your best friends, being your center back partner? And he talked about how it makes coming to practice and games fun. Being able to have your best friend be one of your teammates. And, they carpool to every practice together. They carpool to every game together. It's usually them, Wilfredo Galvis, and a couple other players in the car together. And, we've talked a lot about this team this year having a lot of different personalities. But these personalities, Anthony, have done a very good job of mending and meshing together and becoming one team.
And I think that's something you see a lot more this season is the camaraderie, the togetherness. I credit head coach Tapsham for a little bit of that, but also it's just these guys' personalities, right?
This ball goes out of bounds, going to stay with Red.
It's these guys' personalities, and they're just able to bond together as one. I mean, you see it after games. I mean, they're all happy together, they're all celebrating together. That's the big thing, togetherness. And with any sports team, that's important.
Hussein tried to find a cross. Foul on the white team. Be a free kick for Red from, it looks like, about the 32-yard line.
That is the 36-yard line.
It's going to be the 36.5-yard line.
Sorry, I forgot the half.
It's going to be Adnan Hussein to take the free kick. The shot goes over the net and out of bounds. Be a goal kick.
Would have been great to see Hussein get another goal. 2 straight games, that would have been for
big
Hussein.
Confidence boost for him going into his fall season and going into next year, honestly, as well. But one player I'd love to see have a big game, CJ Fritz.
Yes.
I'd love to be able to see Fritz score a goal. He has not had a goal on the season yet this year. He scored one in a scrimmage. It was a scrimmage against Damon Academy. But he's transferring from Mercyhurst University to Adrian College, being able to have your confidence at a high, transferring to a new team, new teammates, would be a big plus for CJ Fritz.
It would be. It would be.
There's Bovey. Bovey plays his collegiate soccer at Saginaw Valley University. His midfield teammate, Anthony Waller, supposed to play with Detroit Union. Injury for Waller early in the season kept him out. This ball went out of bounds off of White. It'll be a goal kick for Griffin Wright. And Anthony, we've talked a lot this year about these top scorers for Detroit Union. The top 2 scorers, Amadeo Cravasha, Leo Castro, both inactive for this game. But what great seasons it was both for Castro and Cravasha, especially. We keep talking about it, but after a performance like that, you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
The hat trick for Cravasha against Holland Rovers. It was part of that 5-2 comeback win. By the way, Anthony, 2 of 4 Detroit Union wins have been comeback wins. Liquid Football, they were down 1-0, ended up scoring 2 unanswered goals to win 2-1. And then Holland Rovers, they were down 2-0 at half, ended up scoring 5 unanswered goals. And so that's something that's really good to see in this team this year is that fight. Once they get back down, or once they get down in a game, they don't give up. They don't lay down and say, oh, you know what, this isn't our night. They continue to fight. They grind out. They try and find scoring opportunities. As there's Bovey trying to find a scoring opportunity in the left wing.
You know what, I would even say their last game against Futsal Factory, even though not technically, I think mentally it was a comeback performance.
There it is to Clark. Clark will give it to Bovey.
Because you saw in that first half, they were kind of dragging their feet. This team wasn't – I don't want to say they weren't into it because this team's always into it. But you could just kind of tell that it was like kind of dragging on. Head coach Kevin Tapsham comes in, lights a fire under them. And you see them come into that second half and come back, score a goal, keep the defensive pressure up, and win and score a victory in that match. So I'd even consider their last game, though not technically, a mental comeback game.
Ball goes out of bounds as that's Jackson Deere to throw in.
Something I've liked from the white team, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, as the refs seem to be letting them play a little bit. Something I tried to allude to earlier is the patience that the white team is playing with. I really like the patience there, as it's a shot and a save by Ramon.
Good save there by Ramon. First, honestly, a scoring opportunity. I don't want to say scoring opportunity, but first save that Ramon actually, I don't want to say pit effort towards.
It was a first shot on goal.
Yes, that's a good way to pit it. There's a shot blocked. So it's loose in front of the net. Turner will let it roll out of bounds.
Seeing lots of good defensive pressure from both of these teams.
Strike was from Jimmy Huber. There it is to Clark. Clark will give it to Deere. Deere loses it as Bryce Shaw will go get it. He gives it back to White. White will go the other direction. That's to Ethan Collins. Collins will give it to Manad.
Something we saw their last game against Futsal Factory was the defensive pressure. They kept it going.
Good play by
game.
Bovey, but gets called for the foul.
Their defensive pressure last weekend was admirable, to say the least, and they're continuing it here today. Both teams are playing very good defensively and keeping the foot on the gas.
There's Manad. Again, Bovey with the defensive pressure, as you alluded to, Anthony. There's Alavi. Alavi will get it to Hussein. Hussein crossing in towards the net as that blocked by Andrew Simon. Ball finds its way out to Trevor Roski. Kept in bounds, though, by Sneed.
I like the idea Hussein had over there, down at the goal.
There's Jarvis. Jarvis will try and get it to Bovey. Bovey will run and chase it down. Keep it in bounds.
Good hustle there.
He'll find James Clark. The two Lake Orion products tag up with each other. There's Sean Clark. Got Clark, Clark, and Clark on the team. Sean Clark, James Clark, Chase Clark. 3 Clarks on the Detroit Union team.
Now, if you were viewing last week, you folks at home, you may have remembered our little conversation we had about Wit, and Rit. Remember that when we brought up Clark, and Clark?
Oh, my goodness. Wit, and Rit. A good play by Galvez, but an even better play by Griffin White to clear the ball. There it is to Fritz. He'll get it to... That was to Matuza, excuse me.
Another one of those players seeing a good opportunity here today.
Halm Huber. Stolen by Hussein. Hussein with the strike as that goes over the net and out of the football field.
Did that go through the field goal post?
I think it did.
That should count as something, I think. That should count as something.
Isn't there a rule in football where if you get a kickoff to go through the field goal?
No. Maybe
I
in
thought
some
there
like
was.
maybe in some like XFL or CFL type league. Or maybe arena football. According to our producer here, Ben Shittle, there is an old Madden game that did include if you kicked it through the uprights on a kickoff, it would be points. So
That might have been what I was thinking of.
I think arena football too has it like that because it's such a small field. But I don't watch arena football personally. Now, if they had a Detroit, do they have a? I think they have a Detroit team. Our producer, Ben Shadle, is saying that there is a Detroit arena football team of some sort.
Sneed.
He said he thinks so. Let's avoid
Jarvis.
anything.
Jarvis with a shot as he scores. Ollie Jarvis, first goal of this Intersquad, first goal of the season.
That was a good goal there, right? Good goal right there from Jarvis, splitting the outstretched reach of Griffin White.
Number 11, Ollie Jarvis.
That's our wonderful PA announcer, Derek Steele, right there. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, opportunity, and right there, taking advantage of one. Taking advantage of the newcomer in goal, Griffin White.
And honestly, Anthony, if there's one Make sure that this PA mic is not on. It is not.
There we go, Derek.
I do not want Griffin White to hear this. But if there's one critique
Oh, boy.
I had of White, it's that he doesn't know, and this could be that he's young. If there's one critique that I saw from him in practice on Thursday, is that, what are you two laughing at?
Just his reaction. We need a shadle cam. We need a shadle cam. We should invest in a camera for the shadle cam. That would be beautiful. Gotta pay for that. Of course we have to pay for your rights. Of course we do.
Can I go back to what
Yes,
my
go
thought?
ahead.
If there's thanks, Ben. If there's one thing that Griffin White kind of can improve on is knowing when to dive for the ball versus shuffle.
And it comes with experience.
And it does. It does. It comes with experience. And you remember, he's only a junior in high school. He's only going to improve.
And look, he's playing on a semi-pro team like this. He's been training for 7 years under the Michigan State starting goalkeeper. So, like, he's going to have he has so much room to grow, so much room to improve that I wouldn't necessarily worry about that, but it is something he does need to improve on and something that he does need to work on.
There's Turner. Turner will tag up with Dolby, who will one-touch it to Clark.
Now, I just want to shout out the fans here real quick that came here to support this team. They're coming in droves still. There are still fans filing into the stadium here. This is the best crowd I've seen personally.
I mean, the crowd that you saw last weekend had like 10 fans.
Yes, but still, I was at other games.
Oh, you were at the Thundercats game. That's
Yes.
right. There's Jarvis, the goal scorer so far. Ollie Jarvis has the ball hit out of bounds off of him. Be a red ball. Will be Ethan Collins throw in.
I think one thing the fans, you at home and the ones here at the stadium, should be excited for is just the potential that you see with all these players. They came into this season pretty inexperienced. You still have some experience around the edges, but having this year building the camaraderie, building the togetherness, and just building the team more under the helm of Kevin Tapsham, my computer says it's about to restart, and I'm scared.
There's a strike over
I have
the
11
net.
hours. Okay. I read that as 11 minutes. I'm going to hide that.
You good?
Yes,
11?
I'm okay.
I hope this game doesn't take 11 hours.
Well, who knows at this point. But back to what I was saying about, there's so much to be excited for with this team. And you see the improvement this year. Give it one more off season. Keep building the brand that Kevin Tapsham's building here. And look, this is going to be a very, very, very good team in the future, and there's a lot to be excited about for this Detroit Union squad.
There's Galvis in midfield, double teamed. Will draw the foul. That's something we've seen, Anthony, a lot from Wilfredo Galvis, is his ability to draw fouls. That's the second foul in probably the last 5-ish minutes that Galvis has drawn. As Deere will chase the ball, so will Lavi. Lavi really showing off the wheels there. Ball will go off of red. Be a white team ball.
Good hustle. Well, that's another thing I'm seeing from these two teams is a lot of good hustle. Like, they're going into this game. Some people might think, it's just a practice type game. It's just an inter-squad game. It doesn't count for anything. But these players are hustling, and they're going after it.
But as you mentioned, I think a lot of this, too, could be a tryout and an audition for next season.
Yes, as I alluded to earlier, all those players, that don't necessarily see the field all that often.
Bovey will get it to Simon. Anyway, as you were saying.
Being able to come out here in front of the coach, in front of all the fans and all the players, and be able to, hey, I can play. I can come in, I can play, I can be an impactful player. And this is the best opportunity they're going to get, especially going into the offseason. You got to leave your coach with something to think about, right?
Alavi with the ball, almost stolen by Jackson Deere. And one player that comes to mind that fits that description perfectly, Anthony, is Javad Alavi. He's appeared in a handful of games as there's Fritz with a strike saved and dived for by Ramon. Good strike there by CJ Fritz. But going back to my point, Javad Alavi fits that mold perfectly. Yes, he has appeared in a handful of games for Detroit Union, especially recently, but he's definitely a player that I think could be a big role player for Detroit Union next year. As there's Clark. That's Sean Clark, one of the 3 Clarks as we've mentioned. Over to James Clark. Stolen by Roski.
All right, Derek, we're in the middle of our 36th minute here. I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
And I've been wondering this, for a while. Who has been the player that has surprised you the most on this Detroit Union team? I'm putting you on the spot, but I need to know, and the viewers at home, I'm sure they were just begging to know the answer to this question.
Are we talking newcomer or returner?
Just on the team in general, if they're rostered. I'm going to make it a little bit tougher for you.
I'm going to say recently Andre Billis. Recently, Andre Billis, he's been tearing it up the last couple weeks, has 2 goals, scored against the Jaguars and scored against Inter Detroit as there's Snead trying to chase down a ball as it will roll out of bounds. Season-wide, Leo Castro is a name that comes to mind. A lot of people forget that Leo Castro was actually on the team last year. Didn't appear. He is that role player that you're talking about that didn't see the field a lot, worked his behind off in practice, forced his way into the starting 11 and never looked back. Second on the team in goals with 3.
And something you want to leave practice with or leave games with, especially games like this, you want to leave the coach with something to think about. As I said earlier, you want to live in your coach's mind the entire offseason. Throughout all the workouts, throughout all the practices, you want to make your coach think, should I be playing him more? And then continue to prove yourself.
Another player
That's just what Leo Castro did.
Another player that comes to mind is Wilfredo Galvez. Another player that's been just tearing it up on the field. The stat sheet isn't the best for Galvez. He has 1 goal, 2 assists, I believe. Do not quote me on that.
Quoted by Derek Steele.
On the season. But he has been that player that you need offensive production. You can rely on Galvez. We talked about him in practice. A story from Coach Kevin Tapsham as there's a strike from Bovey that goes wide and out of bounds. But a story from Coach Kevin Tapsham is he's talking about never quitting and just working your behind off. He talked at the end of practice on Thursday about Willie Galvez, as everyone on the team calls him Willie. He said, when Willie came in for the first game against the West Michigan Bearings, he was playing, and I thought, there's no way that this player will ever see the field. He just kept working, though, kept improving, and this is Coach Kevin Tapsham's words, not mine. He said, there's a starting 11 against any team that I cannot picture Willie Galvez in, if he's available. Coach Kevin Tapsham said, Wilfredo Galvez is that type of player that you cannot see a starting 11 without him in it. As there's a good play by Clark trying to dump it in for Jarvis, a little bit of miscommunication between those two. Another player that comes to mind, Zach Kelly. But what were you going to say?
So our producer, the almighty Ben Shadle, he comes into the broadcast booth. Not to mention he has 2 drinks in his backpack and a whole unopened bag. Oh, excuse me, 3 drinks in his backpack. He has a whole unopened bag of chips. He comes in. He's a worker at G's. He comes in with quesadillas, chips, and salsa.
I was gonna say you got some for all of us. I'll take some quesadillas. Anthony, call the game for a minute.
Oh boy, this is all right. Here we go, folks. White team being patient here in the backfield.
I'm actually very hungry.
Oh, my goodness. I'm eating mine at halftime. I don't know about you folks. I'm eating mine at halftime. Here we go. We have an opportunity right here. Getting physical and a good steal by the red team. Good defense down low. Again, there's those down low turnovers we keep alluding to this season. It smells delicious. It smells like just deliciousness out here. Our play-by-play commentator is outside of the broadcast booth now. He's taking a phone call, folks. I'm sorry you're stuck with me on the play-by-play, but here we are. As there's a little meeting down there, we're going to set up a free kick. You know what, Ben Shadle, hop on. Hop on, Ben. Welcome to the call, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Shadle. Ladies and gentlemen.
Anthony, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day out here.
It's a beautiful day.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
The sun is shining. The clouds are partied.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, folks. Sorry, my apologies, everybody.
This is beautiful. We have a free kick right here.
I'm going to let you do most of the commentating, Anthony.
For the aforementioned Wilfredo Galvez.
Yes, sir.
There's Jeb Snead and Wilfredo Galvez here. Derek is now looking at us. Little fake shot and good defense.
What
right
a
there by the
save.
red
Oh, my
team.
goodness.
That was more of a block there.
Oh, I got to go let Derek in. I'll be back,
he locked
guys.
himself out. Oh, Lord. All right. And there goes the headset. I apologize, folks. He just, oh, man. That's how you break equipment. All right. Yeah, Ben dropped the headset, Derek.
Why would I do such a thing?
Oh, man.
I'm subbing in for Derek here quickly as he's eating his quesadilla. Very irresponsible as a broadcaster, but, we're gonna fix that.
Jackson Deere gives it
true.
over. Andrew Simon. Over to Clark. Clark's going to kick it up, and that's going to go saved right there, but it will go straight to Griffin. Brain freeze. Here goes. That ball's going to roll out of bounds. Derek's just taking a mid-game break here. He's just chowing down on some quesadillas and a Gatorade right now.
All the professionalism in this broadcast is just going straight out the window. If someone scores a goal, we are not going to get the scoreboard up on the screen. We will try our best, but it might be a little bit late.
Right now,
I'm saying updated. I mean updated. Derek, you might have to step in. Oh, and Derek's taking my microphone.
Welcome back, Derek Steele.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
See, now, as a responsible broadcaster, I'm going to wait till halftime. But
Can I just say, Anthony, you're missing out. That was a phenomenal quesadilla.
I'm doing what I'm paid for right here.
Did you make that, Ben?
Of course
Ben
he made it.
Shadle. Oh,
You
boy.
think Ben would order something and pay for something when he could just make it?
Should I have eaten that quesadilla? I kind of regret eating it now.
It was good though, right?
It was a little burnt, but
See, I'm doing what I'm paid for. All right, over to Jackson Deere.
there's Deer around the 40.
Yeah, I had a good time play-by-play calling here, man.
You want to go? You know what? You want to take play-by-play for the half? Take play-by-play. I don't care.
Sure, I will take play-by-play right here.
You sit down.
Hey, producer, produce. As that will be Joe Dalby. He'll give it on back. Some good moves right there.
Hey, Anthony, that's
Yes.
Turner.
Dalby gave it to Turner. I was looking for the numbers, man. This is Intersquad. I know just as much as you do. Ball kicked into the air, and that will be,
Saved by Griffin White.
yes, Griffin White. He's not on
No,
the
but
roster
seriously,
sheet.
we talked a lot about Griffin White training with Zach Kelly.
Yeah.
That's a play that Zach Kelly does really well. He's going high point for the saves. Good high point save by Griffin White there.
Zach Kelly, can I just bring up that clean sheet he had last weekend?
Ooh, that was a
man.
beautiful clean sheet
And
by Zach Kelly.
something we talked about in that pregame was, as there's be a nice steal right there, knocking down again another one of those backfield turnovers for Union. But we were talking about Zach Kelly. You know, he kind of gets he has a little bit of struggle when there's a lot going on at the front of the net, right? And last game he did very well in the front of the net, stopping, making sure he's making the right play. Just an all-around great performance from. Oh, that was a foul right there. As we're approaching the 45th minute, we will have some extra time for you.
I expect there to be probably about 2 or 3 minutes of stoppage time. There was a goal scored, plus a couple of stoppages with balls needing to be taken down. Ben, let the clock run until you hear the whistle and we throw it to break. For stoppage time, okay?
That will
There's
be
going to be a red bar that counts up. Just let it count up.
given
okay?
back. White being patient with it right here. Some good pressurizing defense by Red.
Is that Coach Kevin Tabsham getting ready to check in for the red team?
I think so. Now, I don't have my prescription glasses here, folks, but that looks like head coach Kevin Tabsham about ready to check in. Now, I was gonna mention that I thought, he might be able to come in, and here he comes, head coach Kevin Tabsham into the game.
He's subbing in for Jimmy Halmhuber.
I thought he would be able to come in. I thought maybe, he's going to coach from the sidelines, but what, being able to coach, being in there with the guys, it might be an even better opportunity for these two squads to learn.
But, Anthony, I really like the question you asked him in our press conference with him about what's the biggest difference between coaching and playing. And he said, honestly, being able to respect the players.
Yeah.
Being able to treat them like adults and know your time and place to be a coach and to be a player.
Tapshum's got it now. It'll be nice defense right there from White as we're going to have the halftime whistle.
And at halftime, Detroit Union White up against Detroit Union Red, 1-0. We are going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. It's Intersquad match, Detroit Union Red versus White, here on the Detroit Union Football Network.
Welcome back to Waterford Mott High School, where we have an inter-squad season finale between Detroit Union FC Red and Detroit Union FC White. As always, I'm Anthony Schulte, and I'm bringing on my broadcast partner, Derek Steele, right here. Derek, we saw a very entertaining first half of action. We saw that goal earlier in the game. Kind of talk about what you've noticed here so far throughout that first half.
Honestly, if there's one player, Anthony, that has really impressed me out of, 22 players on the field, there's two players. One's going to be Griffin White. The other is going to be Javad Alavi. I know we were talking off air, and I said, holy cow, Alavi's had a great game. Like, yes, he doesn't have anything to show for it in terms of scoring, but still a really great game for Alavi. As it is going to be the red team to have ball out of half.
And red team will get this going here. As we're underway here in the second half of this season finale. Glad you could be with us here tonight on a beautiful Sunday evening. It's about 75 degrees here in Waterford. Anthony Schulte, Derek Steele with you.
There's Clark. Clark will give it up. Believe that was to Bovey. Yes, that was to Ryan Bovey. Bovey will go left wing. Had to go get the quick picture.
It's a tradition here, Derek. It's a tradition.
There's Bovey getting a whistle, drawing a foul. Foul was on Alavi. Nope, they're going to call that foul on Bovey.
So you've seen the whistles kind of starting to blow the whistle a little bit more here. Did I say the whistles? The referees. Oh, my goodness. Oh,
we know what you meant.
The referees starting to blow the whistle a little bit more here in the second half.
There's Tapsham. He gives it up. That was over to Isa Diallo. Name we didn't say much in the first half. Newcomer for Detroit Union making his first appearance. There it is to Simon with the steal. He'll give it up to Galvez. Galvez will dump it down to Jarvis. Jarvis trying to get his second goal of the game. Great job by Griffin White to stop it with his legs.
We keep talking about Griffin White here with all these saves. Good job here so far from the newcomer.
And it's not going to be a clean sheet like what Zach Kelly had. But still, it's been a really good game for Griffin White. As there's a whistle foul on White. New goalie into the game for the White team. So we'll try and figure out who that is as quickly as we can. There's a shot and saved. Talking about that new goalie. We talk about it, Anthony. Ball tends to find you when you come into the game. We talk about it a lot in baseball, but same thing can be true in soccer. As White will let that ball roll to him. Grabs it with one foot, gets it out to Ethan Collins. Collins will give it up as it goes out of bounds off of red, so it'll be a turnover. White ball throw in. As Deere had to go chase it down, he's able to get it. And another player who's had kind of a quiet but solid game, I would say, is Jackson Deere.
I mean, we're calling his name a lot. He's into it. He's very aggressive and he's very active. May not be in the highlight play column, but I mean he's doing the nitty gritty, and I mean we're calling his name, so he must be doing something well.
He's not going to be the type of person who's going to make an ESPN top 10. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be the Shohei Ohtani of soccer, but like you said, he's going to do the dirty work. He's going to be able to stay on his assignments defensively, be able to move the ball around offensively, and overall is a solid player.
Now you bring up Shohei Ohtani. I had the absolute blessing and privilege to be able to go to last Tuesday's game against the Angels at Comerica Park, and man, Shohei Ohtani, what
different
a player.
Creature.
What a player.
He isn't human.
We might be watching right now, if you watch baseball, we might be watching the upbringing of the greatest player of all time. I'm not saying he is yet.
Ooh,
but
strong. Strong words from Anthony Schulte.
If he keeps playing the way he's playing for multiple years, I mean, this is one of the single best seasons we've seen in the sport.
Ball hits off of Snead and out of bounds.
Tigers almost came back and won that game, but of course we did not. Almost. That seems to be the theme with this Tigers team.
You know, Anthony, sometimes almost isn't good enough.
Almost is never good enough because
As
almost
White
never gets it
tries to clear the ball, headed by Fritz. There it is to Alavi. Alavi will one-touch it to Tapsham. Tapsham, couple of scoring opportunities the last couple of games, most notably one against Inter Detroit. It's not found the back of the net yet this season. Good play there by Jackson Deere to win the foot race against Adnan Hussein.
Good hustle right there from Deere.
Good hustle by Hussein and good tenacity to not give up on that play.
Right.
As he gets the ball back from Diallo.
It's just one thing I keep noticing about this team, Derek, is just the defense they play. They play good defense. They really, really do. And that's one thing, at least in these last couple games that I've noticed going out of this season, is the defense that they play. It's very impressive.
Madad will get it back to Hussein. Hussein crashing in. He's trying to find a spot as he shot. Oh, just wider than that. From here, it looked like it hit the back of the net, hits the side of the netting, and goes out of bounds. Great scoring opportunity for Adnan Hussein, trying to find his second goal in 2 games.
And you've seen him shoot a couple shots on goal here today, and I think he's really carrying that momentum and that confidence from that last game, being the only goal of the game. He's not afraid to let it fly.
Snead will go up the right side. Stops, directs traffic. He gets it to Clark. Back to Simon. Simon will find Deere. Deere and Bovey touch up. There it is to Bovey. Bovey trying to find Jarvis. Jarvis will grab it left wing. Jarvis doubled.
Now, Derek.
And out of bounds.
I want to bring up your thoughts on something recent happening in this world. Something I think everybody has or knows of is Twitter. What are your thoughts on Elon Musk's decision to change it to X?
There's a cross over to Galvez. Galvez with the shot. Sails
It's
it
through
high.
the uprights for a field goal. I'm sorry, I wanted to do it once. I wanted to do it with the last one, but I'm sorry. But please.
What were we talking about? Oh, X.
Yes.
It was a rebranding that I think we all saw coming. Is it one
I don't know about that.
Is it one I agree with personally? No.
I mean, he did say he was going to rebrand it to something he wanted. But I mean, my opinion is, when it comes to X, you can't change something that's so culturally known by everybody. Twitter, I'm going to tweet this. Look at that tweet. Retweet. It's something that's just been part of the social media culture of this generation.
As red team with the ball, there it is over to, that's Holloway. Holloway with the shot and saved.
Good save right there. That's the second or third save we've seen by that new goalie in for White.
Still trying to find out who that goalie is, but Snead with the ball. That's someone we do know who he is, Jeb Snead. Did you see the video posted on the Detroit Union Instagram? It was the drip cam of, it was Leo Castro and Jeb Snead, their outfits coming in to the game. Jeb Snead. It was funny. Whoever posted that, don't know who runs the Detroit Union Instagram. It was not me who posted it, I promise.
I was looking at it, I was like, what are you trying to say here, Dave?
It is not me who posted it. But they said that Jeb Snead was either going to a meeting or a date. Talking to Jeb Snead before the game, he did indeed confirm that he was going on a date after the game.
Wow. Look at Mr. Snead go.
As there's a Jeb Snead throw in. He gets it back from Sean Clark, and we'll give it back to Clark.
Now, Derek, do we have results from that date?
I do unfortunately not have results from that date. Viewers will have to stay tuned till next season. There's Tapsham.
Something that head coach Kevin Tapsham, who is also in the game, something he said yesterday is getting back his 2 center backs, Joe Dalby and Owen Turner. They really needed that communication and organization that they bring. And that's very important, communication organization from 2 very important players.
Whistle offsides. Late offsides call there as Tapsham will take in the steal. He gives it up to Galvez. Trying to find Sean Clark. Somehow it finds its way to Jarvis. Jarvis trying to find a spot. Stop and go. He'll get it back to Sneed. Sneed will collect around the 34. He gives it to Simon on a 1-touch. Simon will go back to Clark. Clark over to Bovey.
Here's an opportunity here for the white team.
Bovey trying to find a cross out of bounds. Ball boy will quickly get the ball back in. Be a goal kick, I believe, for Griffin White. Actually, they're whistling. They're signaling a corner kick, so it's going to be Jackson Deere to take the corner kick. Not the easiest number. Is that number 10 on Jackson Deere's back from our view in the press box? As there's a corner kick from Deere. It's some heads, and we'll roll to the other corner. As there's Clark. Clark will find Bovey. Bovey will kick it into no man's land. Good hustle there by James Clark. He'll cross. And Diallo will find it. Whistle foul on White.
Must be a foul. Looks like on Bovey.
There it is to Fritz. Fritz to Hussein. That's actually a Lavi, excuse me. Stolen for second by Sean Clark. Good steal there by Clark. Gets it back to Deere. Deere over to Bovey, who will get it back to Jackson Deere. By the way, big shout out to Jackson Deere. Recent 2023 graduate a couple months ago was Jackson Deere. Graduated from Lake Orion High School.
Yes.
As we mentioned, committed to go play collegiate soccer at Northwood University. As there's a deep pass over to Ali Jarvis. Jarvis and White will collide. Whistle, we'll see who the foul's called on. As there's going to be... Are they bringing out the red? Nope, it's going to be a yellow on Griffin White.
Wow.
So there's the first card of the game, as it's going to be a yellow card on the keeper, Griffin White. As with the yellow card on Griffin White, there is going to be a free kick. It's going to be Ali Jarvis, it looks like, to take the free kick.
See if they can capitalize on this opportunity here.
They're up 1-0. 2-0 lead for them would be huge.
That would be a big cushion to have.
It would be a big momentum boost. But the most dangerous lead in soccer is 2-0.
Yeah. Because you get a little too comfortable, and then all of a sudden that's a very, very, very small margin to come back in. You know.
So Jarvis will take the free kick. It's lined up at the 10-yard line, so it'll be a 20-yard kick for Jarvis. As it's off his foot, he goes short. There it is, a header, centered, whistle, offsides.
Wow.
As Turner looks, he's pleading his case. So is Jarvis.
I mean, I like the idea right there, heading it over, giving an opportunity.
The yellow card was shown to Detroit Union White's goalkeeper, Griffin White. Excuse me, that's Detroit Union Reds keeper, Griffin White. What are you giving me that face for, Shadle?
White will have it now. And a shot to the left of the goal. No work there for Griffin White.
So he'll quickly go grab the ball, placed right behind his net. He'll get it out to Collins. Over to Holloway. There it is to Sneed. Sneed will go back to Turner. Turner will find Jarvis. Jarvis with some pressure by Diallo. Red team will steal. There it is to Hussein. Hussein will find Tapsham, who will get it back to, that's to Matuza. Over to Diallo.
I'm really impressed with Matuza, really just getting into the game. We're calling his name a lot here tonight, and as we keep saying, those players that don't necessarily get to, get that on-field experience, they're getting that experience, and Matuza, he's getting his name called a lot. He's getting involved, and that's going to leave an impression on, in this case, his teammate and coach's thoughts in this offseason. We are approaching our 60th minute here.
Derek Steele and Anthony Schulte. Well, I'll give a big thanks to our crew today. Our producer. No, we'll go with our cameraman. Big thank you to Calvin Kustant.
Our producer's gotten enough shine today.
Thank you. Thank you to Ben Shadle.
He's very happy over in the corner. Making sure this broadcast runs smooth for you folks at home.
Good play by Galvis to get the ball. He's double teamed, stolen by Red. Headed by Benad. Taken in, though, by Simon. Man, I know I mentioned it's amazing to see Andrew Simon in the Detroit Union uniform once again. Huge addition for Detroit Union if he's able to come back in 2024, as there's a strike right to White, who will reel in the strike.
We're calling White's name a lot here today. Really making his name known. And other than that one goal he let up, honestly, having a very good performance.
So there's Hussein. Around midfield, he'll give it up to Alavi. Alavi has it stolen. Bovey will reel it in. He'll give it back to Simon. Simon will go to Turner. Stolen, though, by Hussein. Hussein will drive in. Shot saved.
Good save right there. And yet another good save right there from White's keeper. Still can't find out his name here. But a great job nonetheless.
There's Andrew Simon with the ball. He gives it up. That's to Bovey, who will one-touch it back to Deere. Deere will go over to Dalby. Dalby will give it to Sean White. There it is, over to Sneed. Sneed to Clark. Clark to Bovey. Bovey headed by Jarvis. It'll find its way over to Sean White. Sean to Clark. Clark trying to find a spot. He'll dive in. Tried to center it back, but no one home for White.
I mean, I like the idea. You'd like to see White have somebody in the vicinity for that one, but good opportunity here for Red, taken away by White.
Good steal by Andrew Simon as that Galvis with the ball. Jarvis gives it back to Galvis. Galvis able to save himself from a trip. Tapsham goes right through Sneed's legs, who just drops on the ground in disbelief.
That was a good play by Tapsham going under the legs of
You think
Sneed.
the coach will have a couple extra words for him after the game?
Oh, I think he definitely has the upper hand in that area right there.
There's Turner. He'll give it back.
He's not gonna let Sneed go without a little words after the game about that right there.
There's Clark. Clark to Galvis. Galvis will be tripped. Ball goes out of bounds. See what the whistle is, or excuse me, what the call is from the referee. Looks like it's going to be a goal kick. So there are two new players for Red coming in. That looks like Trevor Roski coming back into the game and Mason Breishush coming back into the game. So it'll be Holmbauer and Tapsham to take a break on the bench. Nope, that's actually Diallo to take a break on the bench as Tapsham's still in. Alavi heads it over to Roski. Roski will kick it into no man's land. That's where Dalby will grab it. Over to Simon. Trevor Roski's brother actually plays for the East Division champs, Inter Detroit. Heartbreaking loss for them against 1927, 2-0 loss over in Lansing in the East-West Championship game. 1927 coming out of the West, Inter Detroit for the second straight season coming out of the East. 2-0 1927 win.
We were speaking of Inter Detroit here. The Inter Detroit versus Union game a couple weeks back. Very impressive from Union.
Last weekend, that was last Friday.
That was last weekend.
1-1 draw. As the ball will try to find Hussein, scooped in by the white keeper. Dalby will find Simon. Simon to Galvez. Galvez will try and connect with Sneed. Good hustle by Jeb Sneed to be able to run that ball down. He'll get it to Galvez. Galvez trying to break a triple team. He's not able to.
On the red right now, Red's got it. Gives it back out to Tapsham. Tapsham back. Red trying to get the ball up the field now. As I'm joined here by our producer, Ben Shadle. Ben, how are we?
I'm doing great, Anthony. Thank you for welcoming me back here.
Of course, of course.
On this great night. It's actually a really beautiful night here. I mean, you guys haven't acknowledged that enough. The sun is shining for the first time in over 3 weeks here in Michigan. I mean, we don't even know what the sun is anymore.
Hey,
For crying out loud.
It's been raining a lot.
My
Good
goodness,
steal
it's
opportunity
crazy.
right there by Tapsham. Here come White now. They've got a little bit of a chance to score here. An opportunity, I like to say. Good move right there. And a nice steal attempt right there.
Hey, Anthony, you want to know something?
What's going on?
We got a name for the white team's keeper.
What is his
Brett
name?
Busen.
Brett Busen.
Product out of Clarkson, Michigan. Here's a fact for you. His brother, Trevor Busen, pitcher on Central Michigan's baseball team.
Really? Really? Fire up Chips, man. Fire up Chips. Hey, I want to, this Brett Busen, I want to give a big shout out to you, my man, if you're watching this back. We apologize for not saying your name. You've been playing great. Good saves and goal right there for the white team.
I mean, it would help if we knew his name.
Yes, yes.
But we move on.
We got his name now. That's all that matters.
Oh, good steal by Deer, who will give it back to Roski, though. Alavi to Roski. Offsides is Trevor Roski. 67th minute approaching. Derek Steele, Anthony Schulte.
A pleasure, my friend.
As the white team with the ball, they'll get it to Sean Clark along midfield. There's Galvez trying to find Sneed. Sneed will center. There's a shot just high of the net from Ryan Bovey, trying to put his name on tonight's game. His mark. That's what I was trying to say. His mark on tonight's game. You see, English, not the easiest thing for me sometimes.
As a play-by-play commentator, that's kind of worrying. No, but I really like Jeb Sneed's hustle tonight. I mean, you're seeing it live right here. He's had great hustle all night going down that right side of the pitch. Just absolutely admirable.
And, you know, we were able to talk to head coach Kevin Tapsham about that. Sneed, one of the players who trained with the Flint City Bucks. And I was able to ask Coach Tapsham, hey, what does that experience from being able to play with a professional team, what does that bring to your team? And he says, you know what, they don't get to play in many games as there's a shot and they score. Adnan Hussein timed this game up at 1.
Hey, you see it again here tonight, folks. Last weekend, you see it with an Adnan Hussein goal, and yet again we see Hussein get onto the scorer's sheet here tonight. Good goal right there over the outstretched arms.
Detroit Union Red goal scored by number 20, Adnan Hussein. So that's Hussein's second goal of the season. And as you mentioned, Anthony, second goal in 2 games for the Union striker.
And you were talking about earlier in the pregame, what does he got to do? Well, he just scored. He just made his mark on the game again. awesome to see here from Hussein, especially going into next season.
There's Sneed, has it stolen. But that's also a big confidence boost for him being able to go into next season
Yes.
going out on a high note, scoring in back-to-back games. There it is to Tapsham. Tapsham will leave it for Holloway, who will catch up left wing. Holloway with a shot saved by Busen. Busen, as we mentioned, product out of Clarkston High School, played for Clarkston's soccer team. There's Bovey. Bovey leaves it for Deere. You know, Anthony, I've really liked the chemistry tonight between Jackson Deere and Ryan Bovey. Those two haven't played in a lot of games together this season, but the chemistry between those two looks like they've been teammates for years.
Right, and we've been calling them their names a lot tonight, and as we keep saying, going into next season, it's important, though, because going into next season, you're going to need that that chemistry and that camaraderie, and they're building it. You're seeing it here tonight. We're calling.
Oh, look out! Holloway with space. Holloway trying to find his second shot of the night as that's saved and kicked out of bounds. Another good save by Griffin White, negating Ali Jarvis of his second goal of the game.
Good save right there, and I also like the kick out of bounds to avoid White getting a second chance to get another goal while their goalie's down. Kicking out of bounds, taking that, and saving a potential goal.
Sneed's center, headed by Dalby. There's a shot by Galvez that sails up and through the crossbars.
They've scored about 15 points off field goals here today.
Out of bounds, it'll be a Griffin White. It'll be a Griffin White goal kick. And, you know, we talked about in pregame the moxie from Griffin White. I think that's really been shown. Oh, good steal there by Jeff Sneed making the read. Holloway gets a little bit of revenge as he knocks Sneed down, no whistle. There's Hussein. Stolen by Simon. But going back to my point, great confidence by White being able to pit that early goal by Ali Jarvis behind him and regroup, reset, and he's made some pretty impressive saves.
Yes.
There's Roski. One touches it to Alavi. Alavi over to Fritz. Fritz to Roski. Roski with the shot just wide. As it'll go out of bounds, it'll be a goal kick for Brett Busen.
Let's see if this red team here can take advantage of this, the white team can take advantage of this here and try and go down and score a quick goal. That's what I want to see right here.
1-1 tie. Derek Steele, Anthony Schultz. You want to give a big thanks.
Yes, sir.
Also to our crew for tonight's game, Kelvin Kustance, our cameraman, and the one and only Ben Shadle, our producer.
Oh, yeah.
Give a big thanks to them. We also want to give a big thanks to all the viewers tuning in, able to live stream all 7 home games for Detroit Union, including this evening's matchup. Also, we're able to go on the road for 2 games, being the Michigan Panthers and Cedars FC. Big things coming up in 2024. Talk about that a little bit more in our post-game show. So make sure to stay tuned for that after the completion of this evening's game.
Always got to stay tuned for that post-game show, my friend. Always got to stay tuned for. We have some good stuff coming up in that post-game show for you folks.
There's Hussein.
Can Hussein get another goal here? Let's see.
Hussein will crash in.
Good defense.
Good steal there by the white team.
I keep saying it, man. The defense of this squad, both sides of the ball, have
and it's been
great.
The 2 center backs that we talked about in our pregame, Dalby and Turner, who have helped the white team, especially on that back line all game.
And Coach Tapsham said they're going to be important, and they've been playing a very important role here tonight, proving Tapsham right.
There's Sean Clark over to James Clark. So one Clark will go to the other. Over to Bovey. That's to Sneed. Sneed back to Bovey. That was Dalby.
You know what, Derek? I want to give another big shout out here to head coach Kevin Tapsham. I keep harping on it, but This man worked his behind off
Oh,
today.
good play there by Griffin White to come out and then get Ryan Bovian any thoughts of getting a shot on goal.
Yeah, but I want to give another shout out to Tapsham as he has the ball right here. Just worked his behind off today to get something for these fans, get something going. He was on the phone all day. He was working all day. So big shout out to you and everything you've done this season for not only the team or the fans, but the broadcast as well.
There's Sneed. Sneed to... That was to Jarvis. As White will come out of his net to make the easy save. He'll go up top to Fritz. Fritz blocked by Simon and out of bounds off of Andrew Simon. So it'll be red ball. We're approaching the 75th minute. There's Collins. He'll go back to White. Jarvis crashing in. The ball will go out of bounds, be a corner kick, and just a little bit of a mental mistake by Griffin White, not necessarily knowing where the ball is, just letting it roll out of bounds for the corner kick.
And something that comes with that, it's just, he's just very young. You know, he needs the experience. And he's gaining that here. This is the perfect opportunity for him to come into this team and kind of just get used to it.
There's a corner kick from Simon, headed and scored. Joe Dolby, second goal of the season, 2-1 White team lead.
Big goal right there, taking advantage of the corner kick and getting a goal to take the lead. Big things here for the White team.
Detroit Union White team goal scored by number 2, Joe Dolby.
Here's Joe Dolby, gives a little signal up to the PA announcer after that nice little announcement there. Good job, Derek.
Joe Dolby, we talked about it in the Thundercats. One of the nicest players on this team. Always finds the bright spot and stuff. It was funny. He was recording our interview with Owen Turner on Thursday. Had to tell him to make sure to get my good side.
Yeah.
Still have not seen that video. So, Joe, if you're watching this, please send me that video. And hopefully you got my good side in that video. Also had a really good conversation with Willie Galvez, and we'll have to wait for that as Fritz with space. Fritz will line up a strike. There's a shot and a score. CJ Fritz, first goal of the season, 2-2 tie.
Good response right there by the red team, and CJ Fritz getting a goal, setting himself up for good positioning. And a good response right there. Good bounce back after that White
Detroit
goal.
Union Red goal scored by number 14, CJ Fritz.
As you saw the red team down there posing for a photo.
Darn, I was about to bring that up. Posing for the photo from team photographer Denise Allen. Cannot wait to see that photo after the game.
She does an amazing job at capturing the moment, doesn't she?
Oh, she does. We were talking about that after the game Sunday. I had the opportunity to be able to photograph a practice a couple weeks ago. And realistically, that experience showed us how hard it is to capture the moment.
Yeah.
And you have an internship with the Detroit Free Press.
Yes,
We
I
talked
do.
about the same thing with their photographers, being able to capture the moment. Denise Allen, one of the best photographers. I want to say, now we might be a little bit biased, but she's the best photographer in the league.
Yeah, at the Free Press, we got some amazing photographers. I mean, you see it with every piece of work they do. They're just amazing, and they're just very, very good at capturing the moment. I was able to talk to one of their photographers, Ryan Garza, and he said one of his favorite moments was from the 2004 NBA Finals. He was able to cover it at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Rasheed Wallace fell on him. Now imagine that under the basket. You got Rasheed Wallace tumbling on you.
That's a story that you're going to tell your kids, your grandkids. Yep. Hopefully one day your great-grandkids. If you're lucky enough to see them, your great-great-grandkids.
Right.
As there's Tapsham. He'll kick it into no man's land, stolen by Sneed. Given right back to the red team, though. Fritz will wait for the ball. As we mentioned, transferring to Adrian College is CJ Fritz. About a 30-minute drive south from here. There's Hussein. He'll give it back to Fritz. Fritz with another strike and saved by Busen.
Looks like that just came off the wrong part of the foot there, trying to get a little bit of leverage on it. Just rolled right into the hands of the white keeper, Busen.
Here's Clark. We'll give it over to Bovey. Bovey tried to be wrestled down. He wouldn't go down as Jarvis will give it to Galvez. Galvez back to Jarvis, who will one-touch it for Sneed. Sneed will enter the right wing. Sneed with the strike. He'll actually try and cross it to Bovey, who will dive for it, not able to catch up to it as Ryan Bovey collected in the corner. Stolen and given right back as Roski will come in. He tries to get it to Tapsham. Good hustle, showing his players how to hustle as Kevin Tapsham.
Good opportunity for Tapsham to really show his players, how he likes the game to be played, and a good opportunity for him to be able to coach on the field, which kind of it's a little bit of a different dynamic playing with your coach.
Tapsham will give it to Minad. Minad gives it right back to Bovey. Galvez one-touches it to Bovey. That's Sneed coming out for it. There it is. Over to Simon. He'll get it back to... That was to Dalby. How much bragging rights do you think Dalby's going to have over Turner after scoring that goal? The two best friends on the team always love to go back and forth with each other.
Oh, Turner's going to hear it on the ride home, isn't he? He's going to hear it on the ride home, but maybe Turner can get a goal here and they'll be all evened up.
2-2 draw. Derek Steele, Anthony Schulte.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always.
Big thanks to our cameraman, Calvin
Costance.
Thank you, Anthony. Producer, Ben Shadle. Good steal there by Tarek Minad. There's Alavi. Alavi trying to find a spot as he strikes it just wide of the net. Again, hitting the same spot he did earlier in the second half, side of the net.
You see, he might be trying to work on that shot right there from the right side, and it keeps hitting the same spot. But, I noticed it was a little bit closer to the crossbar. So he's working on it. He's showing improvement there, and maybe next time you'll be able to get it in.
And you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to be able to work on that shot, have it be at game speed, be able to work on that shot versus having the pressure. Is that Ben Shadle down on the field? Down behind the crossbar.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, my goodness. We love our producer.
Our producer's on the field right now, getting a shot for, I think, TikTok. He's working on a TikTok.
I better get some monetary value from that TikTok.
I just want to tag. I just want to be tagged.
There it is, right to Busen.
I need followers. Follow my TikTok, Anthony Schultz.
No free plugs. There's Turner. Turner, still with it at midfield, gives it up to Jarvis. Jarvis has it stolen by, that was Fritz. Hussein with it, right to Roski. Roski will give it back to Fritz. Fritz once again from the left wing will set up a strike and saved by Busen.
Good diving save by Busen. Other than those that goal he gave up, he's been having a really good game in goal for the White squad.
2 goals given up by Brett Busen. 1 to Adnan Hussein, 1 to CJ Fritz. There it is to Turner. Turner will go back to Sneed. Sneed to Dalby. One touches it to Clark. Good play there by Liam Holloway to come in for the steal. He'll go all the way back to Griffin White. White will leave it for... one of the backs. Could not see who that was. Anyway, it gets out to Hussein at midfield. Hussein breaks the double team. He's got a streaking Holloway, and Fritz isn't able to connect with either of those. Oh, good play by Hussein to send Clark crashing down to the ground. There's Alavi. Alavi with the strike, saved by Busen. Loose for a second as he'll easily reel it in. Gets it out to Turner. Clark will go back to Busen. Tapsham applying some pressure. He gets a foot on it. There it is to Alavi. Alavi will line up another strike saved by Busen.
Busen's been busy recently. The past couple minutes. A lot of shots on goal for the red team.
There's Deer. Deer will get it to Turner. There's Bovey. Bovey to Jarvis. Jarvis lets it hit off the chest. 83rd minute. 84th minute. This ball goes out of bounds.
You feel that breeze coming on in, man. That breeze feels nice. Beautiful, beautiful Sunday evening. Sun setting in the top right corner of your screen.
.74 the current temperature. 5-mile-per-hour winds to the south. Feels like 72, Anthony. 44% humidity. But like you said, it's just an absolute gorgeous night. And there's a gorgeous play by Liam Holloway to complete the steal.
It's a beautiful night for football. A little shove right there.
He'll give it up to Turner. Turner will go to Simon. All love from these two teams is Galvis with it on the 35. Gives it back to Turner. Turner back to Galvis, but stolen by Collins. Good steal there by Ethan Collins.
I've seen a lot of great steals here from both sides of the ball. I mean, just really good defensive pressure and footwork down at the on the defensive end for each team.
Tapsham. Around the 40. He'll give it back. That's to Collins. Collins will give it back to Tapsham. Good play by Kevin Tapsham to fend off Willie Galvez there. As they're trying to find Holloway on a stretch pass. Him and Jeb Snead going in a foot race. Won by Holloway. As Holloway gets pushed bound, ball goes out of bounds. Be a goal kick for Busen. Nope, they're going to call the foul before it rolled out of bounds.
Did look like Snead shoved down that red player right down there in the lower corner.
So Hussein will take the free kick. The ball will roll out of bounds. Be a goal kick for Brett Busen. Mentioned Brett's brother Trevor Busen, pitcher on the Central Michigan baseball team. Also went to Clarkson High School. There's Sean Clark, has it stolen. Simon heads it. Given right back to Hussein, though. Hussein goes down as he gets pushed by Simon from behind as he'll draw the foul. And oh no, watch out, Hussein with a couple extra seconds on the ground. He's able to get up under his own power. So Hussein will take the free kick. He goes to Tapsham. Hussein back to Tapsham. Over to Holloway. Holloway one-touches it right to Owen Turner, who will complete the steal. Turner will find Jarvis. Jarvis around midfield will find Turner once again. Turner has it stolen by Holloway. As the ball will go back to the red team off a white team foul. There's Ethan Collins, who will put the ball back into play. He gets it to Hussein. Hussein back to Collins. Mentioned Ethan Collins played his high school soccer here at Waterford Mott, right on this field, making his return with Detroit Union this season. Union the first season in a couple years playing at Mott. Played here back in 2021. Played their games about 20 minutes from here over at Lake Orion High School. As the ball will go back to Griffin White. That was last season. Coach Kevin Tapsham electing to bring his squad back here in the Waterford, Michigan, Waterford Mott High School for this season. Played all 7 of their home games, 6 of their 7 home games. One of their home games earlier this season against the Thundercats was over at Waterford Kettering High School, about a 5-minute drive from here. There's Simon trying to find Galvis, a little bit of miscommunication between those two. Stolen, but given right back. Good play there by James Clark. Galvis trying to break a double. He's not able to. Stolen as Manad with the ball.
Not many differences between Mott and Kettering High School. You see a lot of similarities between the two fields, so not too much of a loss and home field advantage for Union in that game.
There's Hussein. Hussein will give it back to Alavi. There it is to Fritz. Fritz trying to find a spot. Fritz with the strike that goes just a little bit strong and over the net. As, oh no, watch out, Busen's still down on the ground. Luckily, he's able to get up under his own power. It'll be a corner kick for the red team. As it'll be CJ Fritz jog over to the corner to the right of keeper Brett Busen. Fritz will take the corner kick. As it's away. Headed by Roski and cleared for a second by the white team. There it is to Minad, though, back into the box. There's Hussein fighting for it. He gives it up, though. Good effort by Tarek Minad to be able to fight for the ball. He's not able to. Whistle.
Derek, we're approaching the 90th minute in this season finale. It's almost over, man.
What a season it's been for Detroit Union. Though, a 4-4-3 record improved their record by 3 wins from last season. Last year, 2022, their first season in the MWPL. 1-3-6 was their record last season. 4-4-3 this season with the Intersquad game today. But Anthony, looking at this team, a lot of turnover from last year to this year, but there's chemistry. There's a lot of chemistry.
You can tell, too. You can tell there's a lot of chemistry that's been built.
And a lot of this chemistry is from these guys playing with each other in college. There's Turner, blocked by Holloway. We mentioned as there's a whistle. As that's going to be the final. No, it's not. Is that the final whistle?
Looks to be the final
That's
whistle.
the final whistle of 2023.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
But to finish my thought, a lot of these players, as we mentioned, play in college together. Northwood University, Saginaw Valley, Michigan State. We'll talk about that and a lot more on the post-game show, 2-2 draw, here from Waterford Mount High School. You're watching Detroit Union Football on the Detroit Union Football Network. For the final time this season, Derek Steele, Anthony Schulte. Anthony, man, I'm I'm about to get emotional. But
Man.
what a season it's been for Detroit Union this season. We talked about it, the 4-4-3 record. I seriously am about to get emotional.
Oh, man. It's
wow.
all right, my
what a
good
season.
man. My good
What
buddy.
a season it's been for Detroit Union.
Yeah.
Not the way you dreamt of the season ending being the inter-squad scrimmage, but honestly, might have been a storybook ending.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get a much better ending than, drawing in an inter-squad. There's no loser tonight. Everybody wins. It's a good way to cap off a good, impressive season compared to last year. And, coming into today, we thought we were playing AIM, right? The game plan was AIM. We were going to go in against AIM, but it ended up being 5 o'clock, we're doing an inter-squad. Okay, we're doing an inter-squad. The guys embraced it. Head coach Kevin Tapsham embraced it. We embraced it. It was a good time for the fans, a good time for the players, a good time to build camaraderie and chemistry going into next year.
Could not have said it better, Anthony. Going goal by goal throughout the game. It was a 1-0 White lead throughout the first half, thanks to an Ali Jarvis goal, his first goal of the season, and unofficially his first goal in the MWPL. So big shout out to Ali Jarvis for that. It was a 1-1 tie when it was Adnan Hussein finding the back of the goal past new goalkeeper for the White team. That was Brett Busen in net in the second half for the White team. So it was Adnan Hussein goal. But the White team was able to recapture the lead when Joe Dalby, beautiful header by Dalby, pinning it right past goalkeeper Griffin
Pretty
White.
play. Just an absolutely pretty play right there coming off the corner kick. That's how you take advantage of those opportunities. You're given opportunities. We talked about it all throughout the broadcast, not only tonight, but last weekend, last Sunday. It's those opportunities, taking advantage of them. And right there we saw it, the corner kick, the header. Beautiful play, beautiful execution, and that's something to go into next offseason. Look at we converted on an opportunity, a very good opportunity, and that's what we just need to do more of next year. And we'll have a winning record next year, and we'll be way better next year, fighting for the playoffs, in the playoffs, and maybe even fighting for a championship.
The White team only held that 2-1 lead for a couple minutes. It was C.J. Fritz. Another beautiful strike by C.J. Fritz, putting it out past an outstretched arms of Brett Busen, the product out of Clarkston, Michigan. But C.J. Fritz, his second goal of the season, but first goal in actual play, as he did score in the scrimmage earlier this season against Damon Academy. But Anthony, quickly recapping the season, we've talked about it a lot, the improvements. But there's also going to be a lot of improvements from this season to last year. It's going to be, or this season to next season, It's going to be Coach Kevin Tapsham's second season at the helm for Detroit Union, assuming he's going to stay the head coach for this team. What do you want to see from this Detroit Union team going into 2024?
I want to see, turnovers cleaned up. We see the backfield turnovers all the time. Those can be killer against a team like Inter Detroit this year, one of the best teams in the entire Midwest Premier League. You need to clean up those turnovers and also just capitalize on those opportunities, as I said. Also, Kevin Tapsham, this was his rookie year as a coach. Going into next year with all the lessons learned this year, just the experience. This team came into the season a little unexperienced. They're going to have so much experience under their belt, and same with head coach Kevin Tapsham. And I'm just looking for more. I'm not going to say they were immature this season, but just more soccer maturity. Playing together this year, hopefully going in most of the same squad next year.
Talking about, you said that immaturity, it was a lot of self-inflicted wounds, as Coach Kevin Tapsham talked about it in a lot of their games. The 1927 game, they traveled to Indiana, ended up losing that game 5-0, had 11 players that game. They did not have a bench. And by the way, they had 10 players for a little bit in the second half as keeper Zach Kelly went down with an injury in that game. The West Michigan Bearings, that ended up being a 2-0 loss for the Union. Both a red card and a PK that put the Bearings on the board. That ended up being their first and game-winning goal, that being a 2-0 game. And then the Thundercats game, two red cards. It was August Hunter, Joe Dalby, who got those 2 red cards. It was 11-9, and that's when the wheels fell off. Thundercats ended up winning that game 4-0. But if you're able to clean up some of those self-inflicted wounds from last season, those are possibly 1, 2, 3 more wins. And then you look at the draws. You look at Cedars. You look at Michigan Stars. You look at Inter Detroit. You start looking at some of these draws, and those are more and more wins that you could possibly be seeing in 2024 for this Detroit Union team.
It's just cleaning up those self-inflicted wounds and cleaning up those turnovers, just cleaning up the game in general. and the maturity aspect going into it, more of a connected team. And I think that's really going to help them next year. I think next year is going to be a really positive year. And the end of this season, it couldn't have gotten much better for Kevin Tapsham and company on the Detroit Union.
Well, Anthony, one last thing I want to say, and then we'll get your final thoughts of this season. We want to give one more big shout out to all the fans. Seriously, without any of the fans for Detroit Union, none of these live streams, none of these games would be possible without the fans. So we want to give a big thank you from the bottom of mine and the bottom of Anthony and
Yes.
Detroit Union's heart. So thank you for all your support throughout this season. Anthony, you got any final thoughts?
I'm impressed with the way this team ended the season. It was up and down, but going into next season, you got all the momentum in the world. You got all the momentum in the world to go into next season and kick butt. And I think that's what this team's going to do. I've got high hopes, and you know what? I'm excited, partner, going to next season with you. It's going to be great. It's going to be a fun time here on the Detroit Union Football Network.
That's right. Anthony Schulte and myself will be back full-time next season. We look forward to having you, and we're looking forward already to kicking off the 2024 season. All the home games will be streamed right here on the Detroit Union Football Network. But until then, I want to give one more big thank you to our two sponsors for today's game, Printastic Evolution Performance Training. We've talked about them all season, two big sponsors, but not only for Detroit Union Soccer, but also the Detroit Union Football Network. We also want to give one more big shout out and thank you to our team photographer, Denise Allen, best photographer. She is not here. She's
at the exits probably.
She's at the exits getting fan photos and whatnot,
Oh, yeah.
but seriously, best photographer in the league. Might be a little bit biased, but nonetheless, she is a very talented photographer. So a big thank you and shout out to Denise Allen. We also want to give a big thanks to our crew for tonight's game, our producer Ben Shadle, our cameraman. I'm gonna pronounce your last name, Kustins, right? Custins. Calvin Custins, our producer,
yes.
Ben Shadle. Big thank you to both of those gentlemen. Great job, as always, from our crew. And Anthony, it has been a pleasure doing the game with you. It's been a pleasure bringing all the 2023 action for Detroit Union on the Detroit Union Football Network. And until next season, for my broadcast partner, Anthony Schulte. Man, I'm already getting choked up. For my broadcast partner, Anthony Schulte,
Yes.
I'm Derek Steele saying have a great night, everybody.
Good night, Lake Orion.